Someone from out of state called me, and oh man, I almost died laughing when I heard this. I kinda knew something like this had to exist. Nikon corporate, they be watching me. For real, they are. Nikon corporate apparently has a division. What that is, I have no idea, or how big it is. They monitor social media. In other words, they're checking out who's peeping about them, good or bad, on social media. We all know that YouTube is kind of big now. I love Nikon to death, but kind of like brother and sister. It's like brothers are fighting, and not that we're brother and sister, but I've given Nikon some lip. Especially for the really bad advertising department. Those Ashton Kutcher commercials were just absolutely abysmal. They were like the Hindenburg and the Titanic all rolled into one. But anyway, I was like basically one of the first people to get a Nikon D500, and I made like a slew of videos about it really fast, and I just, I tore that camera apart. Not literally, but figuratively, in reviewing it. And so apparently the Nikon division that monitors social media, they send out reports to all representatives worldwide that I'm told. And I found out from someone who will remain unnamed, not locally, that the Nikon rep was talking, and he said to the Nikon rep, he said, "Do you know this guy, the angry photographer?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, we get feeds, and we got a feed from Nikon corporate about this guy talking about our product in a good way, not a bad way. I mean, I've trashed Nikon for very few things. I mean, deservedly so. I mean, anybody that praises anything, without question, is just a stinking fanboy, and you can't trust anything they said. It kind of reminds me, if someone praises everything, they're kind of like a mother that defends their son who's a rapist. It's like, yeah, but he's a really good son. He got good grades in school. It's like, yeah, sorry, honey, but your son's a rapist. You can't trust somebody like that. It's like no matter what a person does, they're flawless. So that's called tough love. But this is really hilarious. And the Nikon rep, this is the conversation, as exactly was repeated to me. The Nikon rep says, "Well, how do you know this guy?" He says, "Well, I know him. I talk to him quite often." And he's the Nikon's, now what percentage I don't know, but Nikon corporate is watching my videos. And I don't know if it was only the Nikon D500, but that was what was mentioned to me, is that apparently Nikon corporate spread out amongst all its tentacle entity representatives my review on the Nikon D500, which was just stellar, just stellar. And I'm not one to, I gave the Nikon D5 down the road in the bad sort of way. It's like, oh, no, 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 no. No, the D5, even if they're both the same price, I would still pick the Nikon D500. It has better autofocus tracking due to the sensor. It has no optical low-pass filter and no AA filter, so it looks 15% better. The only thing the Nikon D5 has over the Nikon D500, the only thing that you're getting for $4,500 more, the only thing, is super, super insane, radically stupid high ISO performance. That's all you got. That's it. That's what you're getting for 40. So I gave Nikon down the road for that, and their commercials. So I've not been a Nikon fan. I mean, I got tons of Nikon stuff, man. I mean, I got more Nikon lenses and cameras back there. I love Nikon. I love the hell out of Nikon. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be a lobotomized fanboy for, okay, whatever Nikon does, it's awesome. I mean, to hell with people like that. You can't trust anybody like that. You cannot. I mean, that's just stupid. Like I said, that's just like a mother sticking up for her son. Well, yeah, but I love my son. He's no, well, honey, your son's a rapist. That sort of situation. But this is, he actually said something else. The Nikon rep said something, I can't even repeat it. It's not bad against me. He said, well, what else do you, about the guy, and he said something else, and I'm not gonna say. And it wasn't bad about me, but it was so funny. I was on the phone while I was driving the car. I like almost had a wreck. It was so funny. But I'm not gonna repeat it. I'm not gonna repeat it here because it's just hilarious. And I couldn't believe. I said, "He really said that?" He's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh my god, that's funny." so, so peace out, Nikon corporate. Apparently, you're watching. I'm sure you're not watching every video. Obviously, hell, I wouldn't want to watch every video. But that is really funny. It's actually very creepy. I didn't know whether to be creeped out or to think it was really funny. The Nikon corporate like spread, information about me and specific videos to all his tentacle entities across the globe. I was like, really? Nikon corporate is, paying attention to what this fat, bald, tattooed guy is saying. But yeah, man, apparently that's a wing of Nikon corporate, is to monitor social media and see who's peeping about him, and that makes sense. The part that I can't tell you is really hilarious, though. Someone could ask me, and I'll tell you, like, privately, but it's pretty funny. I mean, it's really funny. So I thought you'd get a kick out of that. I got a real kick out of it. I thought Nikon really was too big of an entity to give a hoot in hell about what the hell I said. And I've been tough on Nikon. I mean, 85% of my videos have been incredibly positive of Nikon. The only thing, now this is really funny. When I was talking to the guy on the phone, he had no idea that I ever talked about this because he didn't watch my videos. And I said, well, I've attacked Nikon for some really stupid things that they've done. And he goes, this is no lie. He said, oh my God. He said, talking about stupid stuff Nikon did. He said, you remember when they put Ashton Kutcher in those TV commercials? And I was like, oh my God. I made a couple videos about exactly that same subject, about how stupid Nikon was and how they should have fired their ad department for using that, that Hollywood goofball. Because when you look at that commercial, it makes you go, I don't want to buy a Nikon if that guy's a representative. Nikon, fire your advertising department. Okay? I could write a script for a perfect commercial for you, and I'll do it for free. Use Joe McNally. Nobody knows who the hell Joe McNally is outside of the photographic world. Show a real professional just hitting it with the camera, like... And you could just see all the shots are in focus, and it's just elegant beauty like a gymnast or something. And show some dude crawling in the mud up to his armpits and ears in mud, catching a picture of a grizzly bear with like a 400 millimeter and a Nikon D4. I mean, that's the commercial that inspires people. And, you got that juxtaposed with like a douchebag Ashton. Oh man, you gotta get a Nikon. Really? So I love Nikon, but they've done some stupid stuff. Nikon, here's something really important if Nikon's listening to this video, and I hope they are. Nikon, I don't know if you know this or not, but one thing that really pisses your customers off, and that is turning your customers into beta testers and like releasing firmware updates to fix it like a few months down the road. People really hate that. Let me Nikon, people really hate that, and it makes you look bad. And when you got a Nikon D750 with like 1 recall, 2 recall, 3 recall, oh my bad, man, the shutter mechanism could fail. I've taken a lot of cameras apart, Nikon. I know how complicated your cameras are on the inside of them, but you should have beta tested that stuff better, longer, deeper before releasing it onto the market like a title was. Like, well, here we go, it just made a wham. It's like, let them discover the problems with it. No. Here is where you should take a cue from Fuji. I love Nikon, I love Fuji. I'm not saying Fuji versus Nikon. This is better. No. Take a cue from Fuji on this one. This is where the big guy needs to take a cue from the little guy. Fuji's not little. Fuji's been cranking out lenses for decades and decades, but Fuji's got something to prove because they're not sitting on a giant mountain of cash like Nikon was. But Nikon, you remember when... Do you remember when IBM was sitting on a gigantic mountain of cash and they thought that they were like indestructible, and then BAM! I don't want you ending up like IBM. Okay? History. We should learn from history. You're never too big to fail. No, 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 no. Yeah, don't go down that road. Don't go down the IBM road. Don't go down the road of Lexmark and, Circuit City. And, I know Nikon is incredibly diversified, like medical equipment, scientific stuff. Just photography stuff alone and lenses does not comprise anywhere near the totality of Nikon, so they're heavily diversified. But so is Fuji. Fuji makes medical stuff, Nikon makes medical stuff, optical medical. That's where the money is. The serious money is selling crap to hospitals, not selling, a camera to some, some goofball at Best Buy. It's like, oh my God, I bought a D3300. It's like, yeah, really? The other branch of Nikon just got done selling like a $20 million contract for some medical scanning equipment made by Nikon. So, anyway, stop making douchebag commercials, stop turning your customers into beta testers, and stop being too big to fail, that mentality of too big to fail. I love you, Nikon, and there is such a thing as tough love. This is the other problem that big companies make a big mistake on, is they hire a bunch of kiss asses, okay? Like IBM, Nikon, all these big companies, they hire kiss asses, and it's like, do you think there's anything wrong with this plan or design? No, 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 it's excellent. People are too afraid to speak up. You gotta have some little kid that's smart. Wisdom, actually. It's like the emperor's got no clothes. These big companies, they hire yes men and sycophants. They need to have somebody that is independent and said, here's why you're wrong, here's the empirical reasoning, A, B, C. Not like, I think this sucks. It's like, well, so what? That's your opinion. Opinions are useless. Doxophilia, to use the Greek and Latin, in love with your... No, tell me why it's wrong. I'll tell you why it's wrong. Here's the reason. Boom, 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 boom. These big companies got to stop surrounding themselves with sycophant schmucks that agree with everything. Is this design? Yeah, it's great, it's great. Whatever you say, boss. Yeah, it's great, it's great. Just whatever doesn't get me fired. It's awesome. Yeah. That's how big companies go. Whoa. They collapse in on themselves like a black hole entropy. Love you, Nikon. Nobody's perfect, especially me. Bye.